My name is Lucas van der Deijl, and I am an assistant professor in early modern Dutch literature at the University of Groningen, and also currently a researcher in residence at the National Library of the Netherlands in The Hague. And my project is called Deploying DutchDraCor, integrating 150 early modern Dutch plays into the infrastructure of the Drama Corpora Project. Yeah, so my background in digital humanities started during my master program. I was interested in doing more quantitative analysis of contemporary novels, actually. And then I went to UCL in London to do a short degree in digital humanities in their digital humanities postgraduate program there, which was really my initiation in the field of digital humanities. And then I learned some programming, which I could also apply during my PhD research, which was not really about literary history. It was about translations of philosophical text in Dutch by text by Descartes, Spinoza, and Thomas Hobbes. But I've always been interested in applying new methods, computational methods for text analysis. And I'm now recently, or since the last 1 or 2 years, I've been exploring using computational analysis also for drama analysis, applying it to early modern theater in Dutch. One of the reasons I started working on drama is the fact that that a theater edition is almost a semi-structured table, right? So because of the often explicit structure of acts and scenes and speech turns and lines, which is in the early modern editions already sort of explicit in the layout of the page. It's relatively easy to do more formalist analysis of dramatic works. And it's especially interesting to do that for Dutch theater because the Dutch theater was very much oriented at the international field. So there were many plays from the French and the Spanish and also some English plays that were being translated and adapted for the Dutch stage. So this poses all sorts of opportunities and all sorts of new questions about the relationships between the structure of plays and theater traditions in French and English and Spanish compared to the Dutch literary tradition. So that was my main goal, to use those more quantitative computational analyses to also compare those theater traditions across languages and cultures. So the kind of large research goal that I just described to compare Dutch theater traditions to maybe Spanish or French traditions from the early modern period. This is still very much a research goal that I haven't realized yet, because first I have to create a Dutch corpus. And this is the goal of my TNA project, but also of my residency currently at the National Library in the Netherlands. And because in the Dutch National Library they have many digitized editions of early modern plays, but they are not yet available in a structured format. And I was very much inspired by the DraCor project that aims to create this standardized multilingual database of plays in a TEI encoded format. And I wanted to also create this Dutch corpus to also benefit from the possibilities of the infrastructure provided by DraCor, and also of the format and the encoding standards that they developed for early modern plays. So right now, my project right now is mostly about building a corpus of Dutch plays that will enable me and hopefully other researchers in the future to ask and answer new comparative questions about early modern Dutch theater. So there are 100 now in the development server of DraCor. And this number will increase hopefully in the next few weeks and months, because my residency in The Hague is still going on until August. And my goal on the short term is to have a corpus of about 200 plays available. And those are plays that are first printed or staged in the period or in the 17th and the 18th century in Dutch. I'm working right now with a selection of plays that is already encoded in XML, available via the Dutch National Library. So those plays are relatively easy to convert to the DraCor format. And there's also a larger selection that could be included in DraCor in the future, but these plays are less structured, and there's a lot more correction and standardization and harmonization involved to have them also fit for the DraCor infrastructure. So this is something for the long-term goal. But right now I'm working with this smaller selection of plays that could be converted relatively easy to the DraCor infrastructure. And there was some correction involved and mainly a lot of disambiguation. So we had to add speaker IDs to every speech turn. And because speakers are, as you know, not always noted in a standardized way in the editions, we often had to connect them to a unified ID. And I also did this in the last 2 years with small groups of students that I supervise at the University of Groningen. So this is also a nice project where teaching and research come together in I think, a very productive way. So I also hope to offer this kind of teaching as a form of digital humanities teaching. So we also do some network analysis in these seminars and some basic coding and programming. So I think it works really well, and also in collaboration with the DraCor infrastructure, where we can get a lot of metadata already from the web interface and the API. So this really lowers the threshold, in my experience, for students to work with the data and the plays that are available already there. I think I heard about the fellowships last year, around the same period, well, slightly earlier, because I got in touch with the PIs of the DraCor project, Per Trilke and Frank Fischer. And then I think it was Frank who noted that I could actually use the opportunity provided by CLS Infra to collaborate with them for a slightly longer period. Because my question to them was, what is needed, what do I have to do to include my selection of Dutch plays into the DraCor infrastructure, and to benefit from the possibilities of the DraCor infrastructure? And would it be possible to maybe visit you in Berlin or Potsdam for a week or for a few days to discuss this and to, make this onboarding of the Dutch DraCor very efficient? And then they said, well, actually, we have this fellowship program which would be perfect for this, and maybe this could be something for you too. And then I applied for it in the fall. I was very lucky to be accepted. I think there are many next steps, which is exciting for me. Well, one of the next steps is continue to build on DutchDraCor, because there are many digital editions already available of plays, but they are not yet in the TEI encoded format. So I will continue to develop the corpus, also in collaboration with my students in Groningen. But then I will also start doing some first analyses of the corpus based on the selection that's already available right now, but also hopefully on a larger corpus in the future. And just a few examples, I'm interested, for example, in the gender balance on stage in the early modern theater. So the differences between male and female characters, and the speech of male and female characters, position and the narrative structures of male and female characters. Also because there's a lot of there are many developments and changes in the Dutch theatrical culture. Also because characters didn't have to be played by male actors anymore. It's similar to the English situation, where at some point female characters didn't have to be played by male or boy actors anymore. And this changes the representation and the performance of gender on stage significantly, in my view. And I'd like to test this also on a more quantitative level. And a corpus like DraCor is perfect for that, because you can extract speech turns by female characters and male characters and compare them both in terms of narrative structure and network structure, and also in terms of speech and textual features. So that's one of the one of the ideas for research on DutchDraCor I have for the short term. And also what I already mentioned is to compare the narrative structure and conventions in Dutch theater to contemporary conventions in, for example, French theater, same period. Which is also possible because we have DraCor, and there's already a very large collection of French plays available in DraCor. I think it was very great and inspiring to be in Potsdam for a month and to collaborate with the other TNA fellows that were there at the moment, Agnieszka and Botond, CMS, and also Luca, who's doing his PhD in the DraCor project, working on Italian theater, and Danielle, who knew a lot about Russian and also Ukrainian theater, and Botond working on Hungarian theater, and Agnieszka working on Polish theater, and me working on Dutch theater. And I think it was almost like this European dream of people working on different European theater traditions coming together at the same location, working together in the same room for a month. And I think this exemplified really the potential of a project like DraCor in many ways. The fostering collaborations between researchers, but also showing the transnational connections between early modern theater in many languages. And I think it was inspiring to work with people who are working with very similar questions and very similar material, but from different angles, and working on different language fields that were in some cases very unfamiliar to me. But still we could learn from each other in that way. And I think that worked great.